Cassie, Cassie, Cassie. This is going to be a trigger warning. I'm just warning y'all. There's going to be some truth telling in this video. I knew it. Before I go deeper into anything, Diddy is a monster. That guy is a diabolical, degenerate human being. I don't even want to call him a human being. He deserves everything he's getting. I could care less about what happens to him. Let's start there. And I do believe that he manipulated her and a lot of women. I do believe that he is just a ruthless human being. I believe all that stuff. And not to mention what he did on that video, beating that girl up, was extremely diabolical. He needed to be stomped out. But where I find exception with is when she say that she was forced. That's where she lost me. Mama, you were not forced. You did everything willingly. And you did it for obvious reasons. The same reasons that you mentioned, because you don't realize that you tell on yourself. You did it because of your career. You did it because you wanted your modeling career to work as well. You did it because you wanted a good life. You did it because of all of those things. And on top of that, you did it because you loved him. All of those things is not the definition of being forced. And that's the only thing that I really have trouble with. Anything else, as far as like her being manipulated, you know, her stand because of love and all that stuff, a lot of us have done that. Doesn't make it right, but a lot of us have done that. I don't care about that so much. I care about you using the word force. Girl, you were not forced. You knew exactly what the hell you was doing. Was she 19 when she met him? Yeah, but she was also 19 when she decided to cheat on Ryan Leslie with Diddy. She was also 19 when, after being told by Diddy that he is into some freaky stuff, she obliged. She was also 19 then, too. So we got to pick and choose when we want somebody to be a child versus an adult. We have to pick and choose, okay? Furthermore, the girl wasn't 19 forever. She went on to be 20. She went on to be 21, 22, 23. Did he manipulate her? I am most certain he did. But there are monsters out here. I just wish she would have said no from the very beginning, because I'm telling y'all, this is the wrong world to be living in, to be acting dumb. Because men like him, predators like him, criminals like him, diabolical human beings like him, monsters like him, they will prey on every type of woman like Cassie. They will. Doesn't make it okay, because it's never okay, but she had a choice. I'm looking at the commentary and how she was doing in the courthouse, fumbling over her words. She's saying, oh, I don't remember this, when in the past she said something totally different. She was clearly cheating on her now husband with Diddy. So she too has a whole rap sheet of cheating. She is not innocent like y'all like to put her to be. She's not. This is the truth. Face the music, y'all. So let me give y'all the timeline. She cheated on Ryan Leslie with Diddy. Then she cheated on Diddy with Kid Cudi. Then she cheated on Diddy with some football player that he found in her phone because he saw that they were secretly having a relationship. Then she cheated on Diddy with her now husband, who, by the way, she said Diddy had raped her. But when she was being cross-examined, they found out that she was still talking to Diddy around the same time that she was with her husband, with her now husband. So she was cheating on her husband with Diddy because after that, they had consensual sex, she said. She did not want that to come out, not in court. And her husband was fuming. That man was turning red. Everybody say. And for all of us who thought that everything just ended in 2017, 2018, no. Her and Diddy still remain connected even until 2020 on good terms, per the text messages. She was writing them things like, and I'm paraphrasing, but, you know, since my new relationship, I owe it all to you. You know, I miss you. All this stuff as she is with her now husband. Where's the fear in that? Where's the fear? Does that sound like a woman who was fearful for her life? Just use your critical thinking skills, y'all. Put all of this woman versus man aside, because Diddy ain't crap. But I will not sit here and believe somebody who say that they were forced. You were not forced to do anything, mama. You did all of this stuff because you wanted a career. You wanted him to love you. You wanted to spend more time with him. These are your words. None of that constitutes as being forced. And quite honestly, I'm offended by hearing that, because there are real victims out here who have been forced by gunpoint, by knife point, them being hog tied to the bed. Those are victims. Those are people that have been forced. There was no hog tying in your situation. There was no pointed a gun at in your situation telling you you better do this or else. There was none of that going on, mama. And just to see the text messages that you're putting out of you initiating the freak offs, you, not him, but you, and you expect me to believe that you were being forced. And for those of y'all who trying to defend that, saying, oh, she was just manipulated. Oh, well, this is domestic violence. That tells me that y'all think just like her too. And that says a lot. And y'all are the people that I cannot have an intelligent conversation with because you refuse to see the forest for the trees. Was she manipulated? Yes. A lot of us women get manipulated. But more than anything, I think that she was a victim of her own ambition. She did not have any boundaries. And this is why the parents, I'm not a parent, but this is why a lot of our parents have to instill that self-worth in us. Otherwise, we go out in the world looking for it in other people. And we say yes, yes, yes to everything, even things that don't suit us. No wonder why she was contemplating, ending her life, which is not good, because she said yes to so many things just for this man to see her as something he never did. He saw her as an object, and he's a ruthless human being for that. But don't sit here and say that you were forced. I will not buy it. And y'all can have y'all opinion too in the comments. I welcome all of the opinions. I do, because they're opinions. But just use your heads for 2 seconds. For the ones who's not using their heads, just use your heads for 2 seconds, y'all. See the forest for the trees. This woman was a willing participant. Aside from that video, aside from him putting his hands on her, she did not deserve that. Full stop. Full stop. There's no if and buts about that. She didn't deserve that. The girl was even texting him saying, I want to have a freak off with a girl. She's texting him these things. How was that forced? Because she wasn't forced. She wanted to stay in that situation so that he can hopefully see her as something other than subhuman, which unfortunately he never did because he's a wicked man himself who's confused as hell with his sexuality. Anyway, y'all, I just needed to say my 2 piece on this because a lot of this shit is getting out, and I know she didn't want it to get out. But even before all of this court stuff, I've always listened to what she said, how she said, oh, I just wanted my career and all. I'm like, okay. After you hear a person keep saying, oh, I wanted my career and I stayed. And by the way, she stayed and left and stayed and left and stayed and left. What person who's being forced is going to leave and then come back and leave and then come back? That's not somebody who's being forced. When you're being forced, literally, by definition, you cannot go anywhere. She left, they broke up, they got back together. They broke up, they got back together. That's not force, y'all. Let's just use our heads here and realize that she wasn't perfect and he wasn't perfect. These are 2 imperfect people. But with that being said, I still think that Diddy needs to go to jail because he's a vile human being. And that's that on that. Good night.